things are for him, how much he's suffering. Because if ever there was a person who hates the place he comes from, it's Horton. From one day to the next, the years of his youth have become nothing more than a vague memory. Middle age surprised him one day, like an ambush. He served in Korea as a first lieutenant, without distinction. He saw very little action, wrote reports and submitted forms, activities that consume 3/4 of a soldier's life. He achieved the rank of captain without asking for it or deserving it, and he didn't give a flying fig about making major, toward which end he had not nor would he ever lift a finger. This was to be his final mission. He would retire, collect his veteran's pension, open a cigar shop or a corner store or a mechanic's shop in New York or maybe New Jersey. In the meantime, he would have to dignify this ridiculous tropical assignment, taking seriously the Soviet influence that had corrupted the constitutionalist guerrillas and the directive to save American lives. If it were up to him, he would shoot every single high-ranking military official in the country as unfit for duty. What good is an armed force that ousts an elected president, gets overthrown by combatants in shirt sleeves, and then asks to be invaded by a foreign power? And then he would drop napalm over the entire rebel-controlled area. Problem solved. The key to dealing correctly with certain peoples is quite simple. Leave no survivors. The captain can't stand the way the streets smell, or the relentless sun, or the salt spray that rises off the sea, or the miasma that rises off the Osama River in the afternoons. He can't stand the local food, or the customs, or the facial vocabulary with which Dominicans communicate without having to say a word. He can barely contain his disdain for the local soldiers, whom he considers undisciplined, surly, disobedient, cowardly, incompetent in the handling of firearms, and ignorant of combat strategy. The same cannot be said of the rebels. In a single week, he returned 14 of his boys to their families across various states of the Union. For purposes of propaganda, the General Staff reports a much lower number of casualties, but Horton, who was there on the ground and sees them fall, keeps his own tally. As always with this kind of operation, Horton tries to distance himself from all the political imbroglios and palace intrigue. He tries, and as always, he fails. Little wars like this one are resolved in offices, in meetings, in cubicles, with phone calls, with press releases, with misinformation transmitted by means of collaborating radio stations, with pamphlets, with defamation and slander, with targeted assassinations. The fighting in the streets, the gunshots, the tanks, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And to fight that other war, the real war, Uncle Sam requires his intelligence services to be present in the theater of combat. And there's nothing Horton hates more than having to deal with secret agents, especially if they're women. Major McCollum is a woman, a fact about which no one is in any doubt. Tall, athletic, red-headed, with large, green, almond-shaped eyes, Sarah McCollum is a beauty. Nonetheless, she inspires in Horton that particular brand of terror intertwined with disgust known as the heebie-jeebies. To make things even worse, unlike Horton, the Major is smitten with the country. She finds everything beautiful. The river, the salt spray, the smell, the people, her liaisons in the Dominican Army, the spies she directs. But this fascination only accentuates Horton's repugnance.